Chris Brown being a blood still kills me. You grew up in the industry, bro. Why you blooding?
I mean, he came.
Nah, he a blood. He been a blood for like 13 years, 14 years. And he harder than a lot of bloods that I didn't see.
Hello. We in here. We in here, nigga.
Yeah, he count money. He busy right now.
I think it has always been strange that Chris Brown, one of the biggest and most successful singers of our times, tends to identify himself as a gang member, specifically a member of the Bloods gang. And this thought came up as I was listening to his diss song aimed at Quavo named Weakest Link, where at the beginning of the song he raps, I quote, "Okay, let's get down to the facts, pussy am dripped in red," describing his association with the Bloods gang. Chris Brown has never really shied away from showing his association with the Bloods over the years, from throwing gang signs in the club to taking pictures in the hoods of LA with gangsters, and also wearing clothes that seem to show his association with the Bloods. But something about Chris Brown acting tough and repping gangs feels cringe and weird to me. Don't know if it's because he is mainly an R&B singer or because he just doesn't look the part. But him wanting us to see him as a gangster so bad just feels strange. This has led me to do my research on whether or not Chris Brown is really about that life. Chris was born and raised in Tappahannock, Virginia, a state where the crime rate is considered higher than the national average across all communities in America, from the largest to the smallest, but not among the communities with the very highest crime rate. He also did not come from a wealthy background and was raised by a single mother in a low-income household. According to my research, his father was not involved in his upbringing after they divorced his mother when he was a child. His parents, though, worked in honest jobs, his mother being a daycare center director while the father was a corrections officer at a local prison. And so, none of them was gangbanging or in the streets to influence a young Chris Brown. There is also no information on Chris being violent or getting himself in crime-related activities when he was young before he became famous. Chris discovered his passion for music at a young age and began performing in talent shows and local events. His debut self-titled album, Chris Brown, was released in 2005 when he was 16 years old, which featured hits like Run It and Yo. Around that period of time, Chris had already moved to LA in hopes of getting more connections to bigger stars in the industry and to help him grow his career even further. Fast forward to June 17th, 2013. Chris Brown released a song named Don't Think They Know, featuring singer Aaliyah, as the second official single from his sixth studio album named X. The main aim of this song, according to Chris, was to raise awareness of the widespread poverty and gun violence in African American neighborhoods. Chris's age was 24 when this song came out. The reason why I am bringing this song up is because I believe around this time, Chris was starting to become obsessed with the gang culture of LA. On July 2nd the following year, Chris is seen at a club throwing gang signs and shouting out the Bloods during a club appearance after the BET Awards of that year. Days later, he then posts a picture on his Instagram, which was quickly deleted, in which it only showed his shoes, which were red in color, followed by the caption, "It's Bool, I stand on my own 2 feet when life gets brazy." Bool and brazy are terms used by the Bloods. Replacing the first letters of certain words with a B is a common practice. Somehow, Chris Brown seemed to have become a Piru Blood overnight, and it looked like he now wanted the whole world to know he was a gangster. Keep in mind, at this time, Chris Brown's age was 25. He had had multiple hit songs and was a multi-millionaire. It definitely did not make sense as to why he would be joining gangs at this point in his career. According to TMZ, the leaders of the Piru Bloods, when asked about Chris' association with the gang, claim that he was never initiated, but they had no problem with Chris claiming he was a Blood for the following reasons. He's hired several of them to work for him, giving their Compton community an economic boost. Chris comes to the hood and hangs out with them. He shot a music video in the neighborhood and even included some of them in the vid. He donated 1,000 pairs of new shoes to Compton kids. Plus, They don't mind the national publicity they've been getting. Many had a lot to say about this situation, including Trey D, an OG rapper, and a person who was heavily involved in gang activities back in the day. On an episode with DJ Vlad, Trey D shared that he did not understand why Chris Brown was doing what he was doing, and that joining a gang at the height of his career did not make sense at all. Here's the audio.
It did.
From the outside. You know, how do you feel, you know, as someone that's been banging since 10 years old, how do you feel when someone who's rich and successful, that's never been around gangs before, decides in their mid-20s or so forth to start affiliating themselves with gangs?
Well, I feel it has to either be a psychological defect to where you don't want to enjoy your life and enjoy your wealth and, you know, ride around on boats and, you know, pop bottles and just you know, live a stress-free, you know, life as far as attracting unwanted attention and aggression upon yourself. Why would you want to be rich and start fighting people? I mean, it makes no sense to me. So, you know, I see it as like the peer pressure aspect is that, you know, is this what you really want for yourself, or do you feel that this is the only way you'll be secure in certain areas? So are you buying into it for protection, or that's the only logical conclusion that I can come to, because I mean, I can't see somebody waking up one day and like, you know, okay, the Bentley's in the driveway, you know, a couple of mil in the bank. Well, let me go to the hood and get shot at. Let me go stand on the corner and get shot at, so people could say, oh man, that's a tough guy.
Kid Red, one of Chris' close friends who apparently is a Blood and has been on tour with him, is also in a state of confusion about Chris claiming to be Blood. He claims Chris Brown is all about love and was not really involved in gang activities like that. Here's the audio.
Nah, I got to Hawaii days later and I just seen that TMZ stuff. Man, Chris just loves people, man. He take people in. He got a good heart, man. I don't think he's meaning to be, I'm Blood this, I'm Blood daddy. Oh, because Beyonce was doing his, you know, she was doing his dance, man. And the world needs a Chris Brown and Beyonce song, man. Don't you think that?
I agree. And I agree with the statement, but then what got people's, you know, surprise was he said on Pyru.
Oh, man. You gotta ask Chris, and nobody ever know what that meant for Chris. You feel what I'm saying? And I don't think he mean nothing like, you know, Chris from your own man. Like, Chris ain't no bad-hearted dude. So I think he really just was saying what the world needs. Beyonce, hey Beyonce, it's Chris Brown and Beyonce.
But out of all of the responses Chris got from him coming out as a Blood, Kevin McCall's response stood out to me. A singer and songwriter who previously worked with Chris Brown, but they later fell off. He claimed although it's wrong, Chris was just trying to belong to something and just needed a brotherhood. Listen to the audio.
How do you feel about the whole gang affiliation thing?
I think the gang stuff is incredibly unfortunate. That's what I would say. It's unfortunate. Being somebody who really is, you know, from that life and know what that's about, I would never promote that. You know what I'm saying? And when you are the Michael Jackson of this time, you can't bring yourself down to a level, to people at that level, unless it's there to bring them up.
In conclusion, I honestly feel like Chris doesn't really need to be a part of a gang at this height of his career. He is one of the biggest artists in the world, and I feel like he just needs to focus on that and work on his craft. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.